Katie Miller ran through the dusty streets of New Terra Colony, her small feet kicking up clouds of red dirt as she chased after her favorite ball. The 8-year-old girl had been playing with her friends near the water treatment plant where her father worked. The ball bounced high and rolled toward the main street where the alien patrol was walking. "Katie, come back," shouted her friend Tom Bradley from behind her. But Katie was too focused on catching her ball to hear him. The Veltar patrol consisted of 5 tall insect-like creatures wearing dark blue uniforms. Their leader was Commander HFY, a 7-foot-tall being with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the afternoon sun like black mirrors. The aliens walked in perfect formation down the center of the street, as they did every day at exactly 3 o'clock. The human colonists knew to stay out of their way. For 15 years, the humans of New Terra had lived under Federation rule. They were told they were lucky to be protected by the advanced alien civilizations. The Federation provided them with basic shelter, food, and work assignments. In return, the humans were expected to follow all rules without question. Katie's ball bounced directly into the path of Commander HFY. The little girl ran after it without thinking. She was focused only on her toy, not on the towering alien in front of her. "Got it," Katie said happily as she grabbed her ball. In her excitement, she bumped into the commander's leg. Commander HFY stopped walking. His compound eyes looked down at the small human child. The other patrol members also stopped and turned to watch. "You dare touch me, inferior creature?" the commander said in his clicking, mechanical voice. The translator device on his chest turned his words into English that all the humans could understand. Katie looked up at the tall alien. She had never been this close to one of the Federation officers before. Her father had always told her to stay away from them. Now she understood why. The commander's face was like a nightmare, with sharp mandibles and eyes that seemed to look in all directions at once. "I'm sorry, sir," Katie said in her small voice. "I was just getting my ball." "Sorry is not enough," Commander HFY said. "You have shown disrespect to a Federation officer. This requires immediate correction." The commander reached for the energy baton hanging from his belt. The weapon was 2 feet long and glowed with blue electricity when activated. It was designed to discipline unruly colonists. By now, other humans had gathered to watch. Jake Miller, Katie's father, was running from the water treatment plant after someone had told him his daughter was in trouble. Dr. Alex Stone, the colony's medic, stood frozen outside his clinic. Lisa Chen, the human administrator, was hurrying toward the scene from the government building. "Please," called out Tom Bradley's mother, Maria Santos. "She's just a child. She didn't mean any harm." Commander HFY activated his energy baton. The weapon hummed with power and glowed brighter. Human offspring must learn respect early. This will serve as an example to all. Katie tried to back away, but the commander was too fast. He swung the energy baton with all his strength, as if he was striking an adult enemy instead of a small child. The weapon hit Katie in the head with a sound like thunder. Blue electricity coursed through her tiny body. She was thrown backward several feet and landed in the dirt, her ball rolling away from her still fingers. "Katie!" Jake Miller screamed as he reached the scene. He tried to run to his daughter, but 2 of the patrol members blocked his path with their own weapons. Dr. Stone pushed through the crowd and knelt beside Katie's body. He checked for a pulse, listened for breathing, and looked into her eyes. But he already knew what he would find. The little girl was dead. "She's gone," Dr. Stone whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. A terrible silence fell over the crowd. The human stared at Katie's small, broken body lying in the red dirt. Her eyes were still open, looking up at the sky she would never see again. "The discipline was appropriate," Commander HFY announced to the crowd. "The human child showed disrespect to Federation authority. Let this be a lesson to all colonists." Jake Miller fell to his knees. "She was 8 years old," he said, his voice breaking. "She was just playing." "Age is irrelevant," the commander replied. "Respect for Federation law must be absolute." Lisa Chen stepped forward. As the colony administrator, she was the only human with any official authority. "Commander, surely there could have been another way. She was just a child who made a mistake." "There is no mistake in Federation law," Commander HFY said. "The child violated protocol by making physical contact with a superior being. The punishment was justified." Dr. Stone carefully closed Katie's eyes and picked up her small body. Jake Miller reached out to take his daughter, but the patrol members still blocked his way. You will dispose of the body according to regulation, Commander Zexhai told Dr. Stone. No public gathering or ceremony is permitted. The colonists will return to their assigned duties immediately. The crowd began to break up, but nobody spoke. The humans walked away in silence, their faces filled with shock and anger that they dared not show. They had learned long ago that any sign of rebellion would only bring more punishment. Jake Miller was finally allowed to approach his daughter's body. He touched her face gently and whispered, "I'm so sorry, baby. Daddy should have protected you." As the patrol continued on their route, Tom Bradley picked up Katie's ball from where it had rolled. The plastic was cracked from when it hit the ground, just like everything else that had been broken that day. Dr. Stone carried Katie's body toward his clinic. He would prepare her for burial, but he would also do something else. He would document everything he had seen, every detail of how she had died. Someone needed to remember what had happened here. In the growing darkness of the New Terra evening, the first seeds of rebellion began to take root. The Federation had made a terrible mistake. They had killed an innocent child in front of her people, and they had felt no regret. The humans of New Terra would never forget Katie Miller, and they would never forgive. 3 days had passed since Katie Miller's death, and the colony felt different. The humans went about their daily work as required, but something had changed in their eyes. They spoke in whispers when the aliens were not around. They looked at each other with new understanding. Jake Miller had not returned to work. He sat in his small apartment staring at Katie's drawings on the wall. She had drawn pictures of humans and aliens working together, smiling and building things side by side. Now those drawings felt like a cruel joke. Dr. Alex Stone had been busy in his clinic. He had taken detailed photographs of Katie's injuries and written a complete medical report. The energy baton had burned through her skull and destroyed her brain instantly. There was no way the commander could claim it was an accident. Lisa Chen had spent 2 days trying to file a formal complaint through the Federation's official channels. She sent reports to the Regional Command, the Sector Authority, and even the Colonial Oversight Board. Every request was rejected or ignored. "They don't care," Lisa told Dr. Stone as they met secretly in his clinic. "I've sent 12 different reports and they act like nothing happened." "Of course they don't care," said a voice from the doorway. Captain Roy Banks stepped into the clinic and closed the door behind him. The former Earth military officer now served as the colony's security chief, though his authority was limited to minor disputes between humans. "Roy, you shouldn't be here," Dr. Stone warned. "If they see us meeting together, let them see," Captain Banks said. "I'm tired of pretending everything is normal. A child was murdered in front of us and we're supposed to act like it never happened." Lisa Chen looked around nervously. "What are you suggesting?" "We can't fight them. They have weapons and ships that we can't imagine." "I'm not talking about fighting," Captain Banks said. "I'm talking about justice. There has to be someone in the Federation who cares about the law." Dr. Stone pulled out a small data device. "I've been doing some research. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. I found records of similar incidents on other human colonies. Children killed for minor infractions. Adults beaten for asking questions. All of it covered up." "How many colonies?" Captain Banks asked. "At least 12 that I can confirm," Dr. Stone replied. "Probably more. The Federation controls all communication between colonies, so most of these stories never get reported." A soft knock came at the clinic door. The 3 humans froze. Dr. Stone looked through the small window and saw Maria Santos standing outside with her son Tom Bradley. "It's Maria," Dr. Stone whispered. He opened the door and let them inside. Maria Santos was an engineer who worked on the colony's power systems. She was also Tom's mother, and Tom had been Katie's closest friend. The boy had not spoken much since watching his friend die. "We need to talk," Maria said quietly. "Tom has something to tell you." The 12-year-old boy looked up at the adults with serious eyes. "I saw them talking after they killed Katie," he said. "The alien soldiers. They were laughing." Captain Banks knelt down to Tom's level. "What did they say?" "I don't understand their language," Tom replied. "But they were pointing at Katie's body and making sounds like they thought it was funny. And the commander said something to his translator that it didn't repeat in English." Dr. Stone felt sick. "They enjoyed it." "There's more," Maria said. "I've been listening to the Federation communication channels with my engineering equipment. They're planning to increase security measures. More patrols, stricter rules, and harsher punishments for any human who steps out of line. They're scared, Captain Banks realized. Katie's death upset the colonists more than they expected. They think we might cause trouble. We should cause trouble, Dr. Stone said quietly. What they did was murder. Lisa Chen shook her head. We have to be smart about this. If we rebel openly, they'll kill more people. Maybe all of us. Then what do you suggest? Maria asked. Dr. Stone had been thinking about this for 3 days. We need to get evidence to someone with real authority. Someone outside the local Federation command structure. Like who? Captain Banks asked. The Galactic Council, Dr. Stone said. The Federation answers to them. If we can prove that Katie was murdered in violation of galactic law, the Council might take action. Lisa Chen looked doubtful. Humans aren't allowed to petition the Council directly. We don't have legal standing. Then we need to find someone who does, Captain Banks said. There are other species in the Federation. Some of them might help us if they knew what was happening. Maria Santos had been quiet, but now she spoke up. I might know a way. My engineering work gives me access to the colony's main communication array. I could modify it to send messages to other colonies without the Federation monitoring them. That's treason, Lisa Chen warned. If they catch you, they'll execute you. They murdered an 8-year-old girl for bumping into one of their officers, Maria replied. I think we're past worrying about their laws. Dr. Stone looked at each of them. If we do this, there's no going back. We'll be criminals in the eyes of the Federation. We're already criminals, Captain Banks said. Our crime is being human. That evening, Jake Miller finally left his apartment. He walked to the small cemetery where Katie had been buried. Federation regulations required a simple grave with no marker. But the other colonists had left small flowers and drawings around the burial site. Jake knelt beside his daughter's grave and whispered, I'm going to make this right, baby. I promise. As he spoke, he didn't notice the small group of humans meeting in Dr. Stone's clinic. They were planning something that would change everything. The Federation had made a terrible mistake when they killed Katie Miller. They had created something they didn't understand and couldn't control. They had created human anger, and human anger, once awakened, was a force that could move stars. The next morning, Jake Miller walked into the administrative building and found Lisa Chen at her desk. I want to file a complaint, he said. Jake, I've already tried. They won't listen. Then I'll keep trying, Jake said. Every day, until they get tired of hearing from me. Lisa Chen looked at the determination in his eyes and made a decision. Okay, she said. Let's file another complaint. The resistance had begun. 2 weeks after Katie Miller's death, Maria Santos finished her work on the communication array. She had spent every night for 14 days carefully modifying the colony's transmitter. The changes were subtle, hidden within routine maintenance code that the Federation monitors would not notice. Late at night, when the alien patrols were at their lightest, Maria sent out the first message. It was addressed to every human colony within communication range. The message was simple. Katie Miller was 8 years old. She was murdered by Commander Zexhai for accidentally touching him. We have evidence. Who else has stories like this? The responses came slowly at first, then faster. Within 3 days, Maria's hidden communication system was flooded with messages from human colonies across the sector. Dr. Stone read the messages with growing horror. A 15-year-old boy on Kepler Station beaten to death for speaking too loudly. Twin girls on New Moscow executed for playing in a restricted area. An elderly man on Titan Colony killed for being too slow to move out of an alien officer's path. There are dozens of them, Dr. Stone told the secret meeting in his clinic. Dozens of murders, and everyone was covered up by the local Federation authorities. Captain Banks studied the data on Maria's portable screen. This isn't random violence. It's a pattern. They're systematically terrorizing us to keep us in line. Look at this message, Lisa Chen said, pointing to one of the transmissions. It's from Colonel Steve Adams on Titan Colony. He's organizing resistance groups on 12 different worlds. Maria Santos looked up from her communication equipment. Colonel Adams wants to establish a secure network between all the human colonies. He says if we work together, we might be able to get evidence to someone who can help us. Who? Dr. Stone asked. He doesn't say, Maria replied, but he's arranged for someone to visit us. A smuggler named Pete Johnson, who can carry messages between colonies without the Federation knowing. 3 days later, Pete Johnson arrived on New Terra aboard a cargo ship carrying medical supplies. He was a thin man in his 40s with gray hair and careful eyes. Officially, he was just delivering medicine to Dr. Stone's clinic. Unofficially, he was carrying something much more important. Pete met with the resistance group in the clinic's storage room. "Colonel Adams sends his regards," he said quietly. "He also sends this." Pete handed Dr. Stone a small data crystal. "What's on it?" the doctor asked. "Evidence from every human colony in the sector," Pete replied. "Medical records, witness statements, official reports that were buried by Federation authorities. Adams has been collecting it for 2 years. Captain Banks looked at the crystal. 2 years? He's been planning this for 2 years? Longer, Pete said. Ever since his own daughter was killed on Titan. The Federation said she died in an accident, but Adams knew better. Dr. Stone inserted the crystal into his computer. The data that appeared on the screen was overwhelming. Hundreds of human deaths across dozens of colonies, all dismissed as accidents, justified punishments, or regrettable misunderstandings. "There's more," Pete continued. "Adams has made contact with a xenobiologist named Dr. Amy Foster. She used to work for the Federation, but she quit when she discovered what they were really doing to human colonies." "What do you mean?" Lisa Chen asked. Pete's expression grew dark. "The Federation isn't protecting us. They're studying us. Like laboratory animals. They want to understand human biology and psychology before they implement their final plan." "What final plan?" Maria Santos asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. "Complete biological harvesting," Pete said. "When human population reaches optimal numbers, they plan to harvest our organs, our blood, even our brain tissue. Humans have biological components that other species lack. We're valuable to them, but only as spare parts." The room fell silent. Dr. Stone felt sick to his stomach. Captain Banks clenched his fist so hard his knuckles turned white. "The protection was never real," Lisa Chen whispered. "We're cattle. Cattle that got too smart for our own good," Pete agreed. "That's why they're killing children now. They want to break our spirit before we realize what's happening to us." Dr. Stone looked at the evidence on his screen. Katie Miller's death was just one entry in a massive catalog of Federation crimes. "What does Colonel Adams want us to do?" "He wants us to help him get this evidence to the Galactic Council," Pete replied. "The Council has authority over the Federation, but they don't know what's happening in human space. The Federation has been lying to them for years. How do we reach the Council?" Captain Banks asked. "Humans aren't allowed to petition them directly," Pete smiled grimly. "Adams has a plan for that too, but it's dangerous, very dangerous." Over the next hour, Pete explained Colonel Adams's plan. It was bold, desperate, and probably suicidal, but it was also their only chance to save not just their own colony, but every human settlement in Federation space. The plan required coordination between multiple colonies, perfect timing, and a lot of luck. Most importantly, it required people willing to sacrifice their lives for the chance to expose the truth. "I'm in," Captain Banks said immediately. "So am I," said Dr. Stone. Maria Santos nodded. "Katie deserves justice." Lisa Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. "If we do this, some of us won't survive." "If we don't do this, none of us will survive," Pete replied. "The Federation's final plan goes into effect in 6 months. After that, there won't be any more human colonies. There will only be harvesting facilities." That night, Jake Miller sat by Katie's grave again. He had been coming every evening since her death, talking to her about his day and telling her he missed her. "Some people are planning to get justice for you, baby," he whispered to the small grave. "I wish I could be brave enough to help them." As he spoke, he noticed a figure approaching in the darkness. It was Tom Bradley carrying Katie's repaired ball. "My mom fixed it," Tom said, holding up the ball. "She thought Katie would want it to be whole again." Jake Miller took the ball and held it carefully. "Your mom is a good woman, Tom. A brave woman. She's scared," Tom admitted. "But she says sometimes you have to be scared and brave at the same time." Jake Miller looked at his daughter's grave, then at the young boy beside him. Tom had lost his best friend, but he was still thinking about others. Katie had been like that too. "Tom," Jake said quietly, "tell your mother I want to help. Tell her Jake Miller is ready to be scared and brave at the same time." The next morning, the Resistance had gained a new member, and somewhere in the vast network of human colonies, Colonel Steve Adams received a message that New Terra was ready to join the fight. The Federation had created a network of oppression that stretched across the galaxy. But the humans were building their own network now. a network of resistance, hope, and justice. Katie Miller's death had lit a fire that was spreading from world to world. Soon that fire would reach the heart of the Federation itself. The Federation diplomatic ship Harmony of Spheres arrived at New Terra right on schedule. According to official records, Ambassador Krelnock was conducting a routine inspection of human colonies to ensure compliance with Federation guidelines. What the ambassador didn't know was that his visit had been carefully planned by the Human Resistance Network. Captain Banks watched from the observation deck as the sleek alien vessel landed at the colony's main spaceport. The ship was beautiful, with curves that seemed to flow like water and a hull that shimmered with energy shields. It was also exactly what the Resistance needed. "Remember the plan," Captain Banks said into his hidden communicator. "We have one chance to get this right." Across the colony, the Resistance members moved into position. Dr. Stone prepared medical supplies and sedatives. Maria Santos disabled the communication systems that would alert Federation headquarters. Lisa Chen began the evacuation of non-essential personnel from the government building. Jake Miller and Tom Bradley took positions near the spaceport to watch for Federation security forces. Ambassador Krelnock was a tall, gray-skinned being with large, intelligent eyes and 4 long fingers on each hand. He walked with dignity and spoke in a cultured voice that his translator rendered in perfect English. Unlike the military officers, he seemed genuinely interested in human welfare. "The colony appears to be functioning well," Ambassador Krelnock told Lisa Chen as they toured the facilities. "The production numbers are satisfactory and the humans appear healthy." "Thank you, Ambassador," Lisa replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "We do our best to serve the Federation." What the ambassador couldn't see were the small details that told the real story. The way humans quickly moved out of his path. The fear in their eyes when they thought he wasn't looking. The carefully hidden anger that burned just beneath the surface. The tour proceeded normally until they reached Dr. Stone's clinic. This was where the plan would begin. "I'd like to show you our medical facilities," Lisa Chen said. "Dr. Stone has done excellent work maintaining colonist health." As they entered the clinic, Dr. Stone greeted the ambassador with a polite smile. "Welcome, Ambassador. I have some reports I think you'd find interesting." "I would be happy to review them," Ambassador Krelnock replied. Dr. Stone handed him a data pad containing routine medical statistics, but as the ambassador read, Dr. Stone moved behind him with a syringe containing a powerful sedative. "I'm sorry," Dr. Stone whispered as he injected the drug into the ambassador's neck, "but we need your help." Ambassador Krelnock turned in surprise, then collapsed as the sedative took effect. His 2 bodyguards reached for their weapons, but Captain Banks and his team were already in position. The guards were stunned unconscious before they could raise an alarm. "Phase 1 complete," Captain Banks reported. "We have the ambassador." The next phase was the most dangerous. They had to get Ambassador Krelnock to his ship and take control of it before Federation security realized what was happening. The diplomatic vessel had a crew of 12 aliens, plus advanced security systems that could be triggered remotely. Maria Santos had spent weeks studying the ship's technical specifications. She knew that they would have exactly 47 minutes before the ship's automated systems would contact Federation headquarters about the missing ambassador. Captain Banks and his team carried the unconscious ambassador through the colony's maintenance tunnels. These underground passages connected all the major buildings and allowed them to move without being seen by the regular security patrols. Meanwhile, Dr. Stone and Lisa Chen returned to the government building and told the Federation guards that the ambassador was conducting private interviews with selected colonists. This would buy them additional time before anyone became suspicious. At the spaceport, Maria Santos used her engineering skills to disable the ship's external communication array. To any observer, it would look like routine maintenance, but the ship would not be able to send distress signals once they were aboard. Lieutenant Kelly Price, Captain Banks's second-in-command, led a team of 6 humans in taking control of the ship. They had studied the vessel's layout and knew exactly where to find the crew quarters, the bridge, and the engineering sections. The alien crew was caught completely by surprise. They had never imagined that humans would dare to attack a Federation diplomatic vessel. Most of them were stunned unconscious before they fully understood what was happening. Engineer Danny Clark, who had worked on Earth starships before the Federation arrived, quickly took control of the ship's systems. "I've got the engines and navigation," he reported. "But the security protocols are more complex than I expected. How long do you need?" Captain Banks asked as he carried Ambassador Krelnock onto the bridge. "Give me 10 minutes, Danny replied, his hands flying over the alien control panels. Those 10 minutes felt like hours. At any moment, Federation security could discover what was happening and send fighter ships to stop them. But Danny Clark was good at his job, and he understood technology the way Maria Santos understood communication systems. "Got it," Danny announced. "All systems are under our control." Captain Banks placed Ambassador Krelnock in the captain's chair and injected him with a stimulant to wake him up. As the ambassador's eyes opened, he found himself looking at a dozen humans who should have been his subordinates. "What is the meaning of this?" Ambassador Krelnock demanded. "Do you realize what you have done?" "We've committed an act of rebellion against the Federation," Captain Banks replied calmly. "We've also kidnapped a diplomatic representative and stolen a Federation vessel. By your laws, we should all be executed. Then why have you done this?" the ambassador asked. Dr. Stone stepped forward with a data crystal in his hand. "Because we need you to see the truth about what the Federation has been doing to human colonies. I am already familiar with Federation policy regarding human settlements," Ambassador Krelnock said stiffly. "No," Dr. Stone replied. "You're familiar with lies. This crystal contains evidence of systematic murder, abuse, and planned genocide. Evidence that your government has been hiding from the Galactic Council." As the ship lifted off from New Terra, Dr. Stone began to show Ambassador Krelnock the collected evidence from dozens of human colonies. The medical records, the witness statements, the documented proof of Federation crimes. The ambassador watched in growing horror as the truth was revealed. The murder of Katie Miller was just one small part of a massive pattern of abuse that stretched across human space. "This cannot be true," Ambassador Krelnock whispered. "The Federation would never authorize such actions." "The Federation didn't just authorize them," Captain Banks said. "They planned them. Humans are being prepared for biological harvesting. We're not colonies. We're farms." As the ship traveled through space toward the Galactic Council chambers on Vex Prime, Ambassador Krelnock was forced to confront evidence that shattered everything he believed about his government. The humans watched as his certainty crumbled and was replaced by something else. "If this is true," the ambassador said finally, "then I have been serving monsters." "Help us prove it," Dr. Stone said. "Help us get this evidence to the Galactic Council." Ambassador Krelnock looked at the data crystal, then at the humans who had risked everything to show him the truth. "What you are asking could destroy the Federation." "Good," Captain Banks replied. "Some things need to be destroyed." The ship continued its journey toward Vex Prime, carrying with it the hopes of every human colony in Federation space. Behind them, Federation security forces were mobilizing to stop them. Ahead lay the Galactic Council and the chance to expose the truth. But first they had to survive the journey. The Galactic Council chambers on Vex Prime were a marvel of architecture and diplomacy. The massive dome could hold representatives from 300 different species, each with their own environmental needs and communication methods. Today the chamber was full as the Council conducted its monthly session. Supreme Counselor Thexmar, an ancient reptilian being who had led the Council for over 2 centuries, was discussing trade agreements when alarms began to sound throughout the building. "What is the meaning of this disturbance?" the Supreme Counselor asked. Before anyone could answer, the main doors to the chamber burst open. Captain Banks led a group of 12 humans into the sacred space where no human had ever been allowed to set foot. Behind them walked Ambassador Krelnock, his face grim with purpose. "Honorable Counselors," Ambassador Krelnock announced in a voice that carried across the vast chamber, "I bring urgent evidence of crimes committed in the name of the Federation." The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from dozens of species began shouting questions and protests. Federation delegates tried to approach the humans, but Council security forces held them back. "This is highly irregular," Supreme Counselor Thexmar declared. "Humans have no standing before this council." "Ambassador Krelnock, explain yourself immediately." "I invoke Article 12 of the Galactic Charter," Ambassador Krelnock replied. "Any council member may present evidence of genocide or crimes against sapient beings, regardless of the accused party's political status." Judge Advocate Yilneth, the council's chief legal officer, consulted the ancient laws that governed their proceedings. Article 12 is valid, she announced. The evidence may be presented. Dr. Stone stepped forward carrying Katie Miller's belongings in a simple cloth bag. Honorable counselors, 3 weeks ago, an 8-year-old human child named Katie Miller was murdered by Federation forces. Her crime was accidentally bumping into a Veltar officer while chasing her ball. The chamber fell silent as Dr. Stone activated a holographic projector. The image of Katie Miller appeared above the council floor, smiling and holding her favorite ball. Then the image changed to show her broken body lying in the red dirt of New Terra. Katie Miller was murdered by Commander HFY of the Federation Security Forces, Dr. Stone continued. But her death was not an isolated incident. It was part of a systematic campaign of terror, designed to break the spirit of human colonies. Captain Banks activated another projector, displaying the evidence collected from dozens of human worlds. Medical records, witness statements, and official reports scrolled through the air above the council chamber. For 15 years, the Federation has told you that humans were being protected and guided toward eventual membership in galactic society, Captain Banks said. This was a lie. Humans were being prepared for biological harvesting. The chamber erupted again as representatives demanded to see the evidence. Federation delegates shouted denials and protests, but their voices were drowned out by the growing anger of other council members. Commander HFY was brought forward under guard. The tall Veltar officer stood defiantly before the council, showing no remorse for his actions. Commander HFY, Supreme Counselor Thexmar said, "You stand accused of the murder of a sapient child. How do you answer these charges?" "I followed Federation protocol," Commander HFY replied coldly. The human creature showed disrespect to a superior being. Discipline was required. "She was 8 years old," Dr. Stone said, his voice filled with pain and anger. "She was playing with a ball." "Age is irrelevant," the commander responded. "Humans must learn their place." Judge Advocate Yilneth reviewed the evidence displayed before the council. The medical records clearly showed that the child died from injuries inflicted by an energy weapon. The force used was far beyond what would be necessary to discipline a small child. Dr. Stone opened Katie's cloth bag and pulled out her drawings. "Katie drew these pictures in the weeks before her death," he said, holding up the colorful images. "She drew humans and aliens working together, building cities and exploring space. She believed we could be friends." He pulled out Katie's diary and read from it in a voice that carried to every corner of the chamber. "Today I saw a ship land at the spaceport. I wonder what it would be like to fly among the stars and meet new friends on faraway worlds. Maybe someday humans and aliens will explore the galaxy together." The chamber was completely silent now. Even the Federation delegates had stopped their protests. Katie Miller believed in a future where all sapient beings could live in peace. Dr. Stone continued. Commander HFY killed her for accidentally touching his leg. He killed her dreams, her hope, and her innocence. But most importantly, he killed her. Supreme Counselor Thexmar looked down at Commander HFY with ancient eyes that had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. "Do you feel any regret for your actions, Commander?" "I regret that the human child was not better trained," the commander replied. "I regret that human parents do not teach proper respect for their superiors." The Supreme Counselor's expression grew cold. "You regret that an 8-year-old child was not sufficiently afraid of you?" "Fear ensures order," Commander HFY said. "Order ensures peace." "No," said a new voice from the council floor. Ambassador Krelnock stepped forward. "Fear ensures only more fear. What you have created is not peace, it is terror." The ambassador turned to address the full council. "I have served the Federation for 40 years. I believed we were bringing civilization to primitive species. I believed we were protecting those who could not protect themselves. I was wrong." Ambassador Krelnock activated his own projector, showing classified Federation documents that revealed the true scope of the human harvesting program. The Federation planned to extract human organs, blood, and neural tissue for use by other species. The protection was a lie. The guidance was preparation for slaughter. The evidence was overwhelming. Document after document showed Federation plans for the systematic exploitation of human biology. The so-called protection of human colonies was actually a program to breed humans like livestock. Judge Advocate Yilneth stood to address the council. "The evidence clearly shows that the Federation has violated the Galactic Charter in the most serious possible way. They have committed genocide, practiced slavery, and murdered sapient children. The Council will now vote, Supreme Counselor Thexmar announced. All in favor of finding Commander Zexhai guilty of murder. The vote was unanimous. Every species in the Council, even those traditionally allied with the Federation, voted for conviction. Commander Zexhai, you are sentenced to death for the murder of Katie Miller and the abuse of your authority, the Supreme Counselor declared. Furthermore, the Federation's authority over human colonies is hereby revoked. Humanity is granted full membership in the Galactic Council and the right to self-governance. The chamber erupted in celebration. Representatives from dozens of species stood to welcome humanity to the galactic community. But the humans on the council floor were thinking about something else. We want to propose something, Captain Banks said when the noise died down. We want to establish a memorial to Katie Miller here on Vex Prime. Not just for her, but for all the children who died because of Federation policies. What do you propose? Supreme Counselor Thexmar asked. Dr. Stone held up Katie's ball, the plastic still cracked from when it hit the ground. A garden where children of all species can play together. A place where no one has to be afraid. 6 months later, the Katie Miller Memorial Garden was dedicated on Vex Prime. Jake Miller was there, along with Tom Bradley and his mother, Maria Santos. They watched as children from a dozen different species played together under the 3 suns of Vex Prime. At the center of the garden stood a simple statue of a little girl holding a ball. The inscription read, Katie Miller. She believed in friendship. Her memory lights the way to a better future. Jake Miller knelt beside the statue and whispered, We did it, baby. We got justice for you. As he spoke, a young alien child approached and offered him a flower. Jake Miller smiled through his tears and accepted the gift. Katie Miller's death had sparked a revolution that changed the galaxy. The Federation was disbanded. Its leaders tried for crimes against sapient beings. Humanity took its place among the stars, not as victims, but as protectors of the innocent. And somewhere among the stars, the spirit of an 8-year-old girl who had dreamed of friendship between species smiled down on the galaxy she had helped to heal.